I don't know about you, but I'm tired of hearing people say that they're too old to learn a new language. It's like we've been brainwashed by all these platitudes of how kids have such an advantage because their brains are just magically tuned to absorb a new language, while our adult brains are just hopelessly hardwired and stuck with the languages we learned as kids. The truth is that there's actually one massive advantage we have as adults that can actually help us to learn faster. We know how to deliberately learn. Hi, I'm Andrew with Brainscape, a mobile flashcards platform that has helped millions of people efficiently study foreign languages and other subjects all the way into their 90s. And if there's one thing I've learned in this role, it's that you can learn just about anything if you really want it at any age, if you deconstruct the learning process and if you put in the time. Kids seem to learn languages so fast because they're 100% immersed every day, 10, 15 waking hours. But even still, it takes them 5 or 6 years until they're decently articulate with passable grammar. Meanwhile, I've seen plenty of adults, including myself, get to a pretty damn high level of proficiency in less than 1 year if they have the same level of immersion, like living in a country and not having a single English-speaking friend, if they're committed to studying to constantly get better. Of course, you might not have the opportunity to get total immersion yourself, but if you can still find a way to get that 5,000 to 10,000 hours of deliberate practice over a couple of years, then you can become fluent as an adult, even if you can never shake that accent. You just need 3 key ingredients. First is motivation. I'm going to assume that you at least have some long-term goal or you wouldn't be watching this video in the first place. Maybe it's to communicate with a family member, or maybe you're obsessed with a culture. Maybe it's for your career or for a new country that you've moved to. You have to want this foreign language so bad that you're willing to spend hours a day struggling for months or years until you get proficient. And honestly, that's not for everyone. There's a lot of things that we could be spending our time on, and we shouldn't feel so bad about not being bilingual if we have other great talents or important responsibilities. But assuming that you do have that long-term motivation to learn a language, you're also going to want to hack your environment to foist some short-term motivation onto yourself. Right? Go to restaurants where they speak that language and talk to the help in that language. Travel to the country if you can. Ask for directions, negotiate prices, take a dance class with locals, or maybe set your phone's or your computer's default menu settings to that language, or watch movies dubbed in that language. Whatever you need to do to get yourself into situations where you need to learn how to say something or understand something right now. Because if you don't do that, it's really hard to sustain those more deliberate studies every day. Now, if you do happen to be using Brainscape to study your language, we've got that short, medium, and long-term motivation built right into the app itself. It's kind of like a Fitbit for learning a language, where you've got daily and weekly goals for flashcards studied, or streaks, or hours spent, so you can see with cold, hard numbers exactly what you need to do to study every day to stay on track to your learning goals. Speaking of Brainscape, the second ingredient that you need for a language learning process is spaced repetition. In other words, a study process, ideally an app, where you are meticulously repeating the hard concepts frequently and the easier concepts increasingly less frequently so that you're optimizing every moment of study time. Spaced repetition apps like Brainscape or Anki enforce this repetition automatically by asking you to rate your confidence in how well you knew the flashcard, including grammar flashcards, audio flashcards, verbs, etc. Then using your confidence rating in that concept to determine how soon to repeat it again. This seems simple, but cognitive science research shows that when you compound the benefits of spaced repetition compared to traditional manual studying or games or random exposure, you're literally doubling or quadrupling the efficiency of the speed at which you are progressing through a language. Still though, a study app is only going to get you so far without people. I know I mentioned those daily human exposures earlier in the motivation section, but here I want to really emphasize the importance of building relationships in that foreign language. A language exchange buddy or a Zoom partner is a nice start, but really you're going to need friends or colleagues as real-life regular conversation partners if you really want to get those reps in and go deeper than the usual surface-level greetings that you might exchange with new acquaintances. And this takes a lot of effort. Hell, making friends in our native language as an adult is hard and uncomfortable enough, but it takes even more effort when you're worried that people might judge you or get impatient with your crappy language skills. So you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to make really an effort. You might even want to move to the country for a few weeks or months if you can. Live with a family, join a regular class of some sort with locals, get a job or a volunteer gig, host local card games, become part of a club, get away from your partner if you have one, or date if you happen to be a free agent. Whatever you need to do to put yourself in situations where you're speaking aloud with native speakers who see you regularly without exposure or access to your native language, and make that effort. Because you're never going to get good in a language unless you have important people in your life with whom you rely on that language every day. The bottom line is that if you're combining strong motivation, deliberate study, and spaced repetition, and if you're building real relationships with native speakers over a sustained period of time, then I have all the faith in the world that you can become proficient in a foreign language at any age. If you like this advice, be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel for more advice on learning and productivity, and remember to study with the Brainscape app itself so that you can have everything you need to rise to your challenge.